So this is verses 35 to 38. It says this: Jesus heard that he had cast him out. So they had cast him out. So he was casted out of not just out of the temple, out of Judaism. I mentioned that earlier. And having found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" So that Jesus is saying that about himself. And the blind man answered, "And who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Why didn't he know he was Jesus? It was when the last time he was with Jesus, he was blind. He'd never seen Jesus. Right?
Yeah, I didn't know that Jesus was the dude that
Yeah, I mean, maybe he remembered his voice, but he'd never seen his face. So you do believe in the Son of Man? He answered, "And who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said to him, "You have seen him, and it is he who is speaking to you." He said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshipped him. What a beautiful picture for all of us, right? That he figured out that this is the Christ, and his first inclination was to worship. And that should be true of us as well. God has done so much for us. Jesus has done so much for us, and we should also worship him. So we see this progression in the blind man. He washes in the water, and then he begins to see, and gradually he realizes who Jesus is, and he confesses Jesus as Lord, and believed. And then he did the only thing, the only natural thing to do. He worshipped Jesus. Or maybe it's the only supernaturally thing to do, but it makes sense when we come to know Jesus that we would worship him. But on the other hand, if we claim we know Jesus, but we have no desire to worship him, something's gone terribly wrong. If you are in Christ, you want to be with Christ, and you want to worship him. Now, there are times when we don't want to worship because something's gone wrong, or we're angry about something, but our pattern of life should be to follow and worship Jesus. And if you belong to Christ, it will show. And part of that is in your worship. In several times in Revelation, John tries to worship an angel because they are so majestic and so awesome, and I don't use that word very often, that they just face plant, right? And every time the angel says, "Get up, I'm not God. He's the only one you worship." Everywhere where Jesus is worshipped, he accepts that worship. And there's only two possibilities there. Either he is God and he is deserving of worship, or it's blasphemy. And there's nothing in between. And we will all worship him. Some people, everyone will bow down before God. Some willingly, some not. So here's what I want to say. And I just said this, but I'm going to say it again. We were made to worship, and we will all worship. Either we'll worship the God of the universe, or we'll worship something that is not the God of the universe. But what is not possible is that we won't worship. We will all worship something or someone. And if that doesn't seem something that you want to do, if you don't want to worship the God of the universe, including Jesus, the triune God, why would you want to live with him for eternity? Because that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be worshiping. So Yeah, we will all worship. We're going to worship the God of the universe or something that is not the God of the universe. And I think that we're called in this life to worship. And we have the choice to. So I think it's a good idea for us to do that. I mean, we just worshiped right out there, and then some of those songs just make me want to fall face down, but I wouldn't be able to get up. So yeah, that's it. And